life can certainly be frustrating. Things happen, little things start to bother you, big things bother you. There are a lot of frustrating things about life. Psychologists tell us that frustration is cumulative. And that's why we end up with the little thing, the straw that broke the camel's back, that kicks us into that state of anxiety or even anger. So, how do we deal with this? Well, there are a lot of ways to deal with it, a lot of psychological ways. Some good friends of mine, Gary and Rada Bello, have written a book called Enlightening Moments. They talk about the frustration cycle and how we get into a cycle of frustration and it just won't go away. We're going to look at it from the perspective of thought patterns. So we've talked in earlier meditation videos about our thought spirals, our thought patterns, the way that we can get into a series of negative thoughts that lead one to the other. And frustration is really about that. Frustration may end up where you end up getting angry because perhaps someone hasn't done the dishes and you have to do them. Or your car breaks down. Or something minor happens, very minor happens in a store or when you're talking to family, friends, and others. And it was a stupid thing, and you end up apologizing for it, and really it doesn't make sense as to why that frustration was the one that kicked you over the edge. We don't have to worry about that. We don't have to think about the past and why that happened. What we're going to do is we're going to look at it in a non-judgmental way. Because to really understand the frustration, we have to go back to the very beginning and look at our life and our thought patterns. And the way that we can do this is by using our meditation journal. So, even a minor, very subtle frustration, write it down in your journal and see how things build. When you get to that point where you're very frustrated and you either control it and you don't speak or you walk away, or you get angry or you get confused and anxious, that's not the time to be writing down in your meditation book. The time to be writing it down is when you see the subtle things that really bug you and start to cause you frustration and minor anxiety. They are the things that we want to capture, and they are the things that we want to later meditate on when we see a pattern emerging. And a pattern may emerge over time as we say, oh, right. It's every time that person comes to visit me. On the surface, I'm happy to see them, but there are things that they do that absolutely frustrate me. And now I'm just beginning to see that. And so you're beginning to get insights into that frustration and the triggers for those subtle frustrations. And this is actually not a short-term process. This process takes quite a bit of time. And that's because you have to go through all the cycles in life. The cycle of going through, say, Christmas, or a time when families get together in the summer, or a lonely winter, or any of these things that come. You've got to go through the cycle and recognize the different frustrations that arise and begin to use mindfulness to look at the emotions that are generated and the feeling of frustration, And as these things are generated, make a note, start tracking it, meditate on it, begin to get insights as to why they're happening. And really the insights is not as to why they're happening, it's the insight as to why it is making you frustrated. Because there are other things that go on in life that frustrate other people that don't frustrate you. So you have to try to understand what are your unique triggers. So again, we go back to the breath. We focus on the tip of the nose. We breathe in, saying to myself, I'm breathing in. We breathe out, saying to myself, I'm breathing out. And as the Buddha said, not me, not self, not I. This is not about you. These emotions are not you. The feelings are not you. The frustration is not you. You can get beyond it. You can get to a state where you don't experience those, or at least not to the degree that you have experienced them. Frustration becomes really annoying when it becomes almost obsessive. You know that you're frustrated by a certain thing, so you anticipate it. And the thoughts become anticipated. And that ensures that the frustration is going to happen. So when you see yourself anticipating a situation, that's the time to jot those notes down in your meditation journal and to go back to the mindful breath. And when you achieve a state of calm, take yourself to a state of happiness, following all the early meditation videos that we've looked at so far. And then introduce the subject that causes the trigger for the feeling, for the frustration, for the emotion, for the anxiety, or even for the anger. We'll be doing more videos on this, but that's the place to start. So, I won't say good luck, I will say hard work, be well, be happy, and meditate.